Hey everyone, welcome to AvidMax Tying Tuesday. Brady Lair back at you with another pattern. Hope you're all doing well. Today is the Z Caddis. This is a Mike Mercer Umpqua Feather Merchant pattern. A great Caddis merger. Not too difficult to tie. So I'm going to go ahead and spin one up for you. We're starting this out on the 2487. This is a barbless version, the 2487 BL. If you like fishing barbless and don't like pinching your barbs, this is a great one to go with. And today I got a size 14 with a copper bead to match. I believe this is the 7/64 size there. So I'm just going to start with a nice black thread. This is the UTC 70 in black. And we'll walk on back and tie in our first material, which is going to be our ribbing, the Uni-Floss in light green. So we'll just go ahead and snag a little bit off. And you want to rope it up pretty good. It will tend to come undone on you, but you want this to be a little ropey. It can be flat when we tie it in here. But then we'll, as we wrap it, spin it into a nice bound rope. So we'll cover that on up. We can use it as part of our transition and taper for this fly. And then the next material is some pheasant tail. So one of the all-time great fly tying materials. This is a brown color, the dark brown, I think even. You can mix it up a little bit there. So we'll go ahead and snag some of those off. Trim out the butts. And tips. Probably don't need to trim both, but tie it in right on top. And that'll be our backing. I've seen this done. This is a nice natural material for the backing on this fly. I've seen other people tie it with like a mottled nymph skin or thin skin, and that'll work as well. Next thing we're going to throw down is a little bit of ice dub in the light olive. This is a cool color because it's got a little bit of those purple UV hues to it. This will be our main body, the abdomen. So fairly healthy dubbing noodle there to get us going on a juicy caddis fly. This is a great fly for the heavy spring caddis hatches that are apparent, like on the Arkansas River, the Mother's Day hatch. This is a go-to pattern, or anywhere around the state of Colorado or around the country. If you got some nice healthy caddis flies, this could be a great little pattern for you. Match it to the size of your bugs and you'll be good to go. So now that we got our buddy dubbed, nice and healthy, didn't have to be too worried about it. We'll pull that pheasant tail right on forward, and I always just kind of flatten it out and make sure that it's going to lay nice and snug on that dubbing. You can secure it with a few wraps and then clip out our excess there. And then we'll go ahead and wrap our ribbing forward. And like I said, we're just going to kind of spin this to keep it nice and ropey and lay down some ribbing. First one's always the hardest. And just a few touching wraps right over that body. See, I had some pheasant tail pull out, but this will help keep it in place. And then we can capture that with our tying thread here. The next material we're going to do is the Z-Wing. So the name of this fly, what it's based on, is a little bit of Z-Lon. I'm substituting it with just some sparkle emergeon, just a polypropylene material. This one coming right off of the hank. Nice little tip for this stuff. This is the cream color yarn. And I like to keep it in the baggie, and what I'll do is I'll just clip off a corner, and then I can use my whip finish tool to kind of sneak in and grab a strand out for what I need. And that keeps the rest of your bag nice and clean. You can clip off a strand and then go ahead and tie it in. So I already have one prepared, and actually with this stuff, it's a little bit thick, so I'll split it right down in the middle, and that'll be just right for the size 14 that I'm tying today. So we'll position it on either side, and it's going to be kind of an X tie-in motion, so we'll tie it in right on one side of the hook and secure it in place, and then go ahead and fold it over on the other side and tie it in place on the opposite end. And that'll give you a nice X'd V'd wing for the Z Caddis. And then I'll pull them all back together and clip it just short of that body. Always kind of thin it out a little bit. This stuff's great because it'll kind of, when it gets wet, it'll sort of lay down right around the side of that abdomen of the fly, looking like a gas bubble, the wings emerging, all that good kind of emergence action within this caddis. So from there, I'm going to just build a little bit of a thread base for the next couple of materials we're going to add in, and that'll be another bit of dubbing. This is the prism dubbing, the Caddis green. So just a little bit of a contrast of color, a little bit lighter for the thorax beginning here than what our abdomen was. And a much smaller dubbing noodle of this stuff because we still got one more material to add in thereafter. We'll tie that in right up behind, or in front of rather, the wings, and then get some peacock, which will be our final material. And we'll pick out a couple of nice shimmery ones for this. And marry them up. And then we can clip our tips and tie those in together. Right behind the bead. And just make sure our thread base is good, so those are going to wrap nicely. We'll half hitch so I can use my rotary. And the bobbin cradle, get that thread out of the way. And wrap her on forward. Just covering up that thread base with a few wraps. This is kind of a nice leg imitation of that pupating caddis. Also gives a little bit of a darker spot that could be the head of the caddis right behind that bead. And just a great natural material, as I'm sure you all know, with the peacock widely used. So some locking wraps on it. Clip out that excess and then give it a whip finish. Cool pattern to have in your box. Definitely a go-to one for me, and a nice caddis emergence. If you got bugs flying around but they're not sipping off the top, throw this right below subsurface. Fast water bug, not too heavy but not a real light pattern. This is the bead head version. You can tie it without a bead if you needed it to be a little bit lighter and you wanted it higher in the water column. But this will fish just great when you got some nice caddis hatches going on. If you don't want to tie it, check it out on the site. We do sell this pattern pre-made from Umpqua in 2 packs as well. That's the Z Caddis.